Welcome to Ubon Ratchathani University and the International Relations Office as we present some tips for how best to prepare for the IELTS exam, or the International English Language Testing System, which was designed to assess the English speaking, reading, writing, and listening abilities for individuals wishing to study, work, or live in countries where English is the primary means of communication. The IELTS is owned jointly by the British Council, IELTS Australia, and the Cambridge English Language Assessment System. IELTS results are accepted by more than 10,000 organizations, including universities and employers in 140 countries such as Thailand, Australia, of course the UK, Canada, and the United States. The test's going to look at your writing, speaking, listening, and reading skills, and you will be assessed in a category from 1 to 9. You can't flunk. You're just going to be placed into one of these categories. Of course, a low score means you did not take the test. Up to a 9, then you're relatively fluent in the language, and approximately 10 to 16% of those taking the test score a 6.5 or higher, which is approximately what you're going to need in order to gain acquisition to universities and many forms of employment. Here are a few examples of what kind of score you need to get into some top universities. So the first thing to know to do well on a test is to know the test. And the best way that you can know the test is to take the test, and we recommend taking the test, the full test, at least once each week prior to the month that you're going to take the actual exam. So here we have links in the description to many practice tests you can take. In my own case, taking the SATs, in my third time of taking them, I scored 100 points, or more than 10% higher, on the third try. But it's much better to save your money and do all this awareness of the test before you take it, so that when you sit down to that exam, you will know exactly what to do and how to do it. So if you know you need help in writing, which is considered one of the more difficult active skills, then put more attention into the writing practice tests, so needless to say. So this video will first introduce you to the IELTS and look at some things you need to do to prepare for the day of the exam. Then we'll also look at some tips we have to help you continuously improve your English, especially speaking and listening. Then, in a second part of this test, we'll look at the passive skills of listening and reading. These are just coming at you, and you're expected to interpret them. So Section 2 for listening with some sample questions, Section 3 for reading, and finally the active skills of speaking and writing will be Sections 4 and 5 of this video, so you can skip ahead as you like, and don't forget to look for the links below for the practice tests and other ways to improve your English before you take this exam. So to prepare for the test, you'll want to make sure you have the right ID for the exam. And then we recommend you pack some healthy brain food snacks like dried fruit or nuts. You'll have a slight break between the writing, speaking, and listening tests until you take your speaking exam, which may be the same day. Needless to say, you're going to want to know where you're going And so plot out the location of the exam well ahead of time. Put it on your telephone and your GPS. It's not something you want to do, rushing around at the end in order to find out where you're supposed to be. It's also a good idea to have a healthy breakfast, but remember not to drink too much coffee before the exam, because you will not want to take too much break time for excuses to go to the restroom. And so try to keep coffee to a minimum just before you take the exam. And be sure to wear comfortable clothing. You will not be graded down for what clothing you wear. You won't need a suit or tie and the like. And you will want to bring a sweater with you that day. The testing room may be quite cold from air conditioning. And be sure to arrive early on the test day. I personally like to get to tests about 45 to 30 minutes ahead of time so that I can calm down and relax and think about what is ahead rather than being flustered and having my thoughts disturbed by my fears of being late. On the test day, you will be allowed to bring a bottle of water with no labels, a clear bottle of water that you can see through. You will not be allowed a watch or any kind of telephone or calculators. So be sure to rely on the clock in the testing exam for your timing. And so the test begins with the listening component that will last about 30 minutes, and then you'll have about 10 minutes to transfer your answers to a formal official answer sheet. And then, if you're finished ahead of time, you'll need to wait for the next reading section. The reading section lasts approximately 60 minutes, and then the writing section for another 60 minutes. And you have no break between these three sections, so beware. You should not leave your seat until all the papers have been collected and you've been told you could go. If you finish early, then you're going to want to sit patiently till everything has been completed. So again, you'll not be allowed any watches, telephones, only your passport, comfortable clothing, and your clear water bottle. The speaking test often takes place the same day. You'll have a short break there. You may be able to leave the center, but you'll want to make sure you arrive 30 minutes before you're taking that speaking test. If you do arrive late for the exam or for parts of the exam, you may not be allowed to take it. So coming on time and even early is critical for you. So again, if you're taking the test and you find you do need to use the restroom, then you may raise your hand and the supervisor will come and you will want to take your ID with you. They may need that to check you back into the exam. Of course, you're losing critical time. So again, be sure not to eat or drink too much for taking the IELTS exam. This video will look in detail at these four aspects of the test, but in short, for the listening test, you'll want to listen, of course, to the whole question and get the context so that you can answer the questions properly. For the reading test, you'll get 40 questions that you'll need to answer within a 60-minute time frame. Some of the longer passages will, of course, take longer than others, so be prepared for that. For the writing test, of course, you want to organize your thoughts logically, but also give yourself some time towards the end for revisions. You'll want to revise whatever you wrote down at first, and then polish that up into your best offering. And for the speaking test in particular, we have some hot tips. From my experience of teaching in Thailand, it seems that speaking causes the greatest fear in students. And why is that? Because Thai students don't speak much. Instead, the time is often put into grammar. ผมคิดว่าแบบดีสุดๆแบบดูหนังทุกคนผมดูหนังผมได้ยินภาษาไทยอ่านภาษาอังกฤษและหลังจาก400 ชั่วโมงผมพูดโอเคนะครับผมได้ยินดีกว่าทุกวัน
Our civilization thrived for ages. But what is the life of one race compared to the vast stretches of cosmic time? We knew that one day we would be gone, that nothing of us would survive. So we left you.
เป็นสบายใจพูดภาษาอังกฤษคุณต้องพูดนะครับ and we have exercises, shadowing exercises that we've prepared here at International Relations at UBU to help you become increasingly fluent. So listening to the movies, you hear the naturally spoken language, and also by speaking with the shadowing videos, you will become more comfortable speaking English. There are 2 sets. The Harry Potter Intense series will allow you to speak along with me, after me, all 12 tenses of English based on summaries of the Harry Potter stories that most Thai people already know. At the end of each video clip, you can then try your natural English for the whole passage for each tense and see how you sound compared to me, a native speaker. To Harry's dismay, Professor Snape will have been killing Dumbledore. Dumbledore's death will have been a terrible blow to Harry. Now, repeat this 3 more times and find your pronunciation improving markedly with each go around. So good luck and keep at it. Where, to Harry's dismay, Professor Snape will have been killing Dumbledore. Dumbledore's death will have been a terrible blow to Harry, but it will have been enabling him to see clearly what his true mission is. Also in our collection is everyday phrases and terms for English, and it is the same idea. So with approximately 30 such practice videos, your speaking can improve quite quickly, and through the movie method, your listening can improve also quite quickly. And of course, finally, every day, as I do, spend 30 minutes speaking after a native speaker to get your pronunciation better and better each time.
ละทิ้งปล่อย
abandon, abandon, abandon,
ที่ถูกละทิ้งกำพร้า
abandoned, abandoned, abandoned,
ความสามารถ
ability, ability, ability,
สามารถ
able, able, able,
ประมาณ เกี่ยวกับ
about, about, about.
So I urge you to think of these 2,000 words in English, most common used words, as your individual friend. The video is about 5 hours long, which means at 30 minutes a day, in 10 days you'll do all 2,000 words, and then after 10 days, do it again, and then do it again. In 3 months, that's 3 times you'll have been exposed to the 2,000 words, and in 3 months then that's 9 times each. And after you've conquered those 2,000 words, your speaking and abilities will increase dramatically. And you'll have the 2,000 words you need to speak about 90% of everything in English. So do please stay tuned for details about the next units. But good luck in your preparation. And remember, you can't prepare a few days ahead of time to do well on a test like this. So spend the time speaking and listening, and finally, enjoy our own English Foundations class. And if you do the work, we here at International Relations will assess your work as you go along if you like. So there is another option for you. So good luck preparing, and stay tuned for details about the 4 tests that you'll need to take for the IELTS exam.